Hey everyone, back here with another game dev log for my little gacha incremental game. This time I made a lot of progress over the past few days, adding in all the systems that I wanted around the gacha pooling itself. So I've done things like allowed you to switch names between different gacha games, so to say. Added in click to hold feature so that'd be easier and more comfortable for a player to earn the gacha resources, and then added in a tap to open system as well, so that when you buy the gacha appears on the screen and the player still has to tap the gacha to open it. So just putting in a little more interaction there so that the game can be more fun. But I've got the system working kind of from beginning to end with the game loop around grinding for Stardust resources, crafting Stardust into crystals, spending crystals to buy the gacha, tapping to open the gacha, and then spending those rewards on upgrades and earning heroes that improve your luck, which lets you raise the chance that you're going to draw another hero. So the base luck here I've put on the screen as part of the display is 2%. And then as the player plays through and opens more gacha, they will actually increase the rank and EXP of the gacha itself. This rank level, I've updated the system so that it factors in this rank level and improves the rate at which you earn your 5-star rewards. And then I have 2 of the upgrade systems working here. Improving the grinder level, which increases how much Stardust you get every time you grind for Stardust. And then a click to hold system where the level increases how quickly the clicking to hold generates Stardust. So it operates on a short timer right now, and as you upgrade the click to hold level, that timer becomes shorter and shorter, and you get more frequent bursts of Stardust as you click to hold. So in this update, I just want to go through and demonstrate all of these features that I've added. I feel like I've made a lot of good progress towards making this game playable, especially this core loop part of it. And I wanted to take this as a milestone video to show like all the pieces kind of working together and then pushing the player towards that ultimate goal of getting luck high enough so that you can consistently pull heroes. Most of the surrounding features and systems I haven't worked on yet, so there's still no code supporting things like quests, shop, and auto roll, and even the menus up above. So we're going to ignore that section. But I did add in a cheat system here on the top left to help me playtest and debug more quickly, because it does take some time to go increment on these material resources and with grinding and forging and pulling gachas. In a regular playthrough, I would say it takes a few minutes to get enough resources to do a 10 pull, and it probably takes over 10 minutes to get your first hero. So let me just demonstrate everything working here. I'm going to change the size of that so that you can see everything on the all the stats on the bottom right, so we can see like how many resources we get as we play along. So this is how it works. Here's the core gacha game system here, and there are arrows on the top to let you switch between different, so to say, gacha games. And these gacha games are going to be separate from one another in terms of like the EXP that you gain in a specific gacha specific to that gacha, so you can level up different gachas and play different gachas. And the main differentiator is going to be the loot drops, right? So which rewards and the chances and the rates that each reward drops are going to be unique to each gacha game. So I have a bunch of fun little game ideas here. Just placed there as a string of text, right? So this part of the system doesn't really change anything in this prototype. It's just to demonstrate that you can change the gacha game. By switching names here, it just switches the name. It doesn't actually load in a new gacha game. But in the full version, my plan is to have switching from game to game, give you a different resource material type, load in more information, different information about the rates, and then have unique upgrades for each gacha game itself as well. So how do we start playing? First thing I want to do is start grinding Stardust. I did work on a little bit of a feedback mechanism, feedback animation for a lot of the UI elements here that are interactable. The buttons pop when generating material resource, and that gives me clear feedback that something's happening in the game. So as I click grind Stardust here, you can see that on the bottom right, the Stardust number actually pops as well. So this is how I draw attention to the numbers that are changing on the screen to make sure that we're paying attention to the right numbers. So that's grinding Stardust. If tapping is tiring for you, I've added in a click to hold feature. So clicking to hold, I'm just clicking the mouse and holding down. This pops a Stardust about every half second. I think it's 36 frames. I've set to as a default rate. And we're just going to grind our Stardust until we get to 100 Stardust here, so that we can go for a couple of pulls. Once I grind my Stardust, I can start forging star crystals. Star crystals here require 10 Stardust per crystal. And in a similar fashion, the buttons and the stats are animating to draw attention to what is changing on the screen. I do want to note I have a small bug here that I'm not able to figure out. It's probably core to the underlying transform and animation sequence, or the logic around how processes work in Godot. When I have more than 20 Stardust and can generate at least 2 star crystals, the animation for star crystal number popping works fine. But when there's only 10 Stardust and I'm only when there's under 20 Stardust and I can only forge 1 star crystal, when I click that, the star crystal number doesn't pop. So I spent a little bit of time trying to figure out what's happening there, but my feeling is that it's a deeper system interaction that I can't really work towards fixing right now. When I actually go to refactor the game and rebuild the full UI system for the final game build, I'm going to have to work around what Godot is doing in order to avoid this issue. I've included the animation pop-up when you don't have enough material as well. In the debug console, I print a message that says, you don't have enough Stardust, you need 10 Stardust, and on the game UI itself here, it pops a little animation scaling up the Stardust number, showing, hey, you need to pay attention to the Stardust number because you don't actually have enough to do the conversion from Stardust to Star Crystal. Next, I'm going to show you the gacha working here. I'm going to spend 1 crystal to get 1 gacha. When I click that, you'll see the star crystal count going down, and then our little, you can imagine this is like a gacha chest or gacha box that you can open and tap. when I buy these gachas, they appear on the screen. And they're not open yet. So as a player, I have to tap that gacha in order to open them and roll to see what I get inside. Let's start tapping. I'm gonna tap my first gacha. I get 1 EXP for opening the gacha box. And on the bottom left in the log section here, I have a rough working version of this log that just prints out anytime a roll happens in the game and the outcome of the roll, and then the what the player has gotten from that outcome. So unfortunately, my roll was pretty low this time, 16. Outcome was outcome 0, 0 being the worst, and then the highest number being the best. And then I only got a piece of junk. My junk system is not counting junk yet, so that's not hooked up quite yet, but I just have the junk text here to say like, okay, we got the lowest roll. We didn't really get anything useful. I think junk is going to be used to recycle into gold or into more gachas. So this will be one way to make the really bad rolls feel less bad, right? Let's tap through a couple more of these gachas. All my rolls are really bad. The chances of getting a bad roll in the current luck level is pretty high, right? So there's 58% chance of getting a bad roll. I still have 10 star crystals. Let's spend and use the 10 pull. So 10 gacha, I immediately click that and 10 gachas appear on the screen. That's a quick way to get the game going. I'm getting really bad luck right now with all the junk. So 1 gold, 2 gold. So 2 out of 13 gacha pulls, and most of them were at the under 58% outcome. That's pretty bad luck, right? So let's just keep going. This time I'm just gonna cheat a bunch of Stardust. Here, 100 Stardust, and then forge that to do another 10 pull. When I did my playtest with myself yesterday, it took about 120 pulls for me to get good luck and pull my first hero. So I expect it might be around the same this time. So far I've done a bunch of pulls. I believe 23 pulls based on the rank and EXP. And we're getting up there in gold. Still having pretty bad luck, just 2 gold right now. But if we're able to pull a high outcome, we might be able to immediately get a sizable stash of gold, right? So there we got gold plus 5. That was a good roll, 85. These rolls are out of 100, right? So 85 percentile roll gave me outcome 2, which is 3 star. There's a 10% chance of getting that one. And we got 5 gold. Now we've gotten enough gold that we can spend on our first upgrade. And I'm going to buy grinder and upgrade that to level 1. So that grinder upgrade here and the click to hold upgrade are the 2 upgrades that I have working. Chance and pity are not working yet. I haven't implemented those. The grinder upgrade increases the amount of Stardust I get per click. So you can see now 2 Stardust per click when I grind Stardust. And that's going to double the rate at which I get Stardust, which is going to give me and give players momentum going into the beginning part of the game so that they get pretty strong power-ups, start grinding harder, right? Forging more and rolling more. Now that my gacha is at rank 4, you can see the chance of me getting a 5-star has increased a bit. So it's now 2.28%, 10%, a little over 10% more chance of getting that 5-star. I still don't expect to get it yet, that percentage chance is pretty low. We don't have any pity systems. And I still haven't gotten my major upgrades. Let's tap all of these gachas and get that rank going up. So most of the contribution to my progress here is through the ranking system of the gacha. So we're at rank 5, and you can see here it's now at 2.6% for getting a 5-star. I'm just having really bad luck with the rolls today. Oh, and I was saying I had bad luck, but I was able to get an early hero. Here we go. So my last pull here rolled a 99. Outcome 4, which is the last outcome here with the 5 stars. And I summoned Alexa, one of the heroes that we have in the game. And this hero is supposed to upgrade my luck count. I'm not sure if the luck is actually counting properly right now. We do start at 1. But I think we stay at 1 luck until we get multiple heroes, in the way I coded it. I might have to go in and update that a bit, because my intention was to have each hero contribute 1 point to luck, at least in the beginning. So even though I got the hero, my luck hasn't improved in the case of getting Alexa in this prototype. So let's cheat a bit here then. I'm going to cheat gold. I got 100 gold. And improve my click to hold speed. And that's going to, each level here is supposed to improve it 3 frames. So we're going to get a faster click to hold rate going. And then let's cheat some more gold and increase the grinder level so that we also have grinder level 3. And that's going to give us 4 Stardust per click. 4 Stardust per click. The number here is not printing out the right number. That's something I have to take note of. In my to-do list, update this to actually print out the right number of Stardust that is being gained. So now we have a bunch of Stardust. Let's do another set of pulls. A lot of junk still, huh? A lot of junk. Okay, I summoned Jean. Or Jean. So I summoned Jean. Rolled a 99. So some pretty good luck today, actually. We're only at rank 6 in terms of how many gachas we pulled as progression. That's about almost 60 pulls total, and we got 2 heroes, right? So that was 2 pulls out of 60. Pretty good result. Now that we have Jean, my luck level is 2. And this luck level is going to come into play as another way to improve the chances of getting this 5-star. And that's basically where we're at in terms of this prototype. I've pretty much walked through all of the systems we have. You can see now that my luck is 2, and then the rank is 7. The total 5-star chance of getting a 5-star roll has gone all the way up to 3.54% from the original number of 2. So this continually scales up. In the basic implementation right now, only the 5-star weights get increased. So it doesn't really touch the weights for any of the other outcomes. But in the full game, luck and rank and level should be scaled more precisely across different outcomes and not just target the highest outcome itself. So there'll probably be some nuanced tuning and adjustments to the design on that front. That's pretty much it for the prototype playthrough. If I click the EXP here, it gives me a bunch of EXP, 100 EXP. It doesn't update that immediately, so I do have to roll to make the prototype go through that EXP counting code and convert that into ranks. Once my rank is high enough, you can see this 5-star rate is getting pretty high. So let's start rolling even more, and we can expect, we got another hero. So we can expect the hero drop rate to continue to go up, and we can expect more heroes to drop from our tapping. So we're at luck level 4 now. We've gone 3 heroes total so far. I rolled another Johan, so I actually have 2 copies of Johan right now. That's not displayed, but it's counted. It should be counted in the code. I rolled Ayumi, so I've gotten another hero. I rolled another John, so my luck level is continually going up, and we're at 25% now. Of course, we're moving through this pretty quickly because I've used a bunch of cheats, and the EXP system here is only a basic 10 EXP per level. It doesn't scale the EXP required as we progress, which is something that needs to happen. It needs to get marginally marginal in terms of like how much progression we get per gacha pull, because we do start pulling faster, and we need to have some sort of diminishing returns towards that EXP curve, so that we're not blasting through all the ranks and getting all the way up to rank 20 so quickly. You can see at rank 20, which should be about 200 pulls, we've gotten increase of 8 to our luck level, so that should be a 8 or 9, yeah, 9 hero pulls, and a 25% rate on the 5-star. This is uncapped at the moment, so if we keep demoing, we keep going with the pulling and increasing XP and increasing our luck, it starts compounding. The rate at which that chance goes up, and it very quickly gets to 100%. So you can see with the latest pulls, I'm getting an error around my rolls. Oh, maybe it's not scaled to 100. So I'm rolling 1,000. Yeah, I'm rolling 1,000 here, but that's probably because of the weights. We have more weights. Basically, the way I'm adjusting the drop rates is adding more weight value to the 5-star by just adding a number. It becomes a larger and larger number, and then the total weight for the total range for the roll also increases. So because our weights are more than 100 now in total, the number that we get from rolling a weight increases so that we can account for all the outcomes. And in this case, we're rolling in the thousands in some cases, and then getting a hero basically every roll at 97% now. And that's where we're at right now. One thing I'm going to do is export a copy of the build of the game, so that I have a copy of the executable. I can pop it open to play the prototype without building it in Godot. And then the next steps, I'm going to finish out these 2 upgrades, Chance and Pity. Probably do some retuning around the weight improvement. The way we're adding weights to just the hero right now, it doesn't work. And then The scaling also doesn't work. We have to make EXP scale. EXP requirements need to scale so that we're not blasting through ranks. And then the exponential growth here needs to be tapered. Because we're getting to 100% chance on hero summon outcomes way too quickly. So that needs to be tapered out. The heroes themselves, next things I want to work on is the code for the heroes themselves, so leveling up the heroes, counting how many shards you get per hero, and then assignment of the heroes towards quests. So this questing system is going to be a passive progression system where you assign a hero to a task and they perform that task automatically and they generate resources passively. So that could be anything from gold to Stardust to maybe some other types of materials. We might build in questing to drop items from these other game systems as well, right? So that's going to be what I'm going to be working on next. I'm thinking about making that hero part of the game loop start working. And that's going to be the second part of the prototype. The first part was this gacha pooling system, which I have created a very bare bones working version of it to get a feel of like how it all comes together. But the game itself is going to be this interplay between all of these different subsystems, right? So the heroes need to start being useful in other ways than just improving the luck value. So we're going to have to get these heroes active in quests, get the shop working, so that there's a sink for gold, and then ultimately this is going to be a collection game. So we want to get that collection system going with all the prizes and all the different types of gacha drops that you can get from the prize gachas or even the game gachas. So that's pretty much it for Godot side of things. If we wanted to review some of the code, I could just scroll through it very quickly to show what a mess it is. Basically, we've got everything in one file right now. But I haven't actually gone through to do any refactoring yet. That's going to be later. Once the prototype is done and I have a lot of the game systems figured out, working, and at least have a basic tuning of a working fun prototype, then I'll work towards refactoring everything in the game to make it more modular and better to build the final product. Because right now in the Godot, it's just a debug panel, right? It's just buttons on the screen for the most part. If we want to get a full game running, that's going to be a lot of work on top of just the coding system. There's going to have to be a whole lot of UI work to get the game presentable with art, with tooltips, with larger play space, collapsible menus, that sort of thing. I do hope that I'm able to figure out a good middle ground between like the most simple types of menu-based incrementals versus more complex incrementals that have a lot of more meaty visuals to let the player feel like they're in a play space. I think there's always that extra polish and extra production value that comes with making more art, but it is going to increase the scope a lot if I push that too far. And my worry right now is that for a first game, I do want to keep the scope small, but I want to be ambitious as well and like try to get the best game that I can make out there. And sticking to just a strict menu system, incremental with buttons and bars, is going to be a lot more manageable in scope, but also not exactly where my current ambition level is, if you understand what I mean. Like for kind of a box product that I want to get up on Steam and sold at a reasonable price, and something that I want to get in front of lots and lots of players, I think it's going to be important to push that production value up a bit to make the game more marketable, more appealing, and really competitive on the marketplace. That does get me thinking about maybe doing a free demo version, or a demo like example game using the same gacha systems that I'm building here, same incremental systems. Perhaps piecing together like a demo product with a different theme, maybe a different theme entirely. It doesn't have to be gachas, but something that could be maybe thrown together in about the same time as a game jam. That's simple enough to like test the market and get some feedback on, the direction of aesthetics and playability. That could be a good way to get some work out there, get a game in front of players. Basically building a second toy game, a side project to reuse the stuff I'm building here to try out like a lower scoped, minimally scoped incremental game project. So what are we looking at here? Basically, I don't remember how much we went through last time in terms of code and stuff, but I do maybe want to talk about the weight system. Might be an interesting thing to talk about here. We have roll weights is the core idea around how my gacha system is built. Or basically, we're specifying in this roll weights function the weights of individual outcomes. So I make an array with an array of floats, and each number in that array is a weight number, and each index in the array is an outcome. So that weight number is associated with that position in the array, which is the outcome. And what we do here is we sum together all the weights and then draw a random number from the sum of the weights, right? So if the sum is from 0 to 100, we have a sum of 100, all the weights added together, and we draw a number. If it's 0, then we get the lowest outcome. If it's 100, which is the sum of the weights, then we get the highest outcome. And this works for any number of weights and any size of weights, right? So if we wanted a specific outcome in the weights to occur more often, then we just increase that number. So what was happening in the demo was that we were just adding to the weights number for the final outcome. And how this is used is that we roll the number and then we print out the role itself, and then we count through the array to find out which outcome we've landed on. So we kind of roll a dice, see the number, and then we have to compare that number to the array of weights, right? Counting from the beginning to the end. So if it's a low number, we'll count and very quickly find out which outcome it is. But if it's a high number, like let's say we have outcomes from 0 to 100, and as an example again, and let's say we got like 85, right? We have to count through, oh, the first outcome is within the range of 0 to 58. Well, we rolled an 85, so that's a greater number. So we have to check the next outcome in the sequence and then add that outcome to the first outcome. So that with the first two outcomes, it requires like a roll of between 58 and let's say 75. And we check that again. Well, our outcome 85 is still greater than that sum, so it's going to be one of the later outcomes, and we just keep going through that loop to check which outcome we get, and then we return that outcome. We return that outcome here so that whatever game system was asking for the outcome gets the outcome and can use that to give the player their prize. So where is that being used? Here's an example of it being used here. We create a new array of weights. This is the weights that we saw for the gacha. 58, 25, 10, 5, 2. And then we pass that into roll weights here. So in the current prototype, I did add, these are some of the new lines here, which are modifications to weights. So before I even roll the weights, I check, what's the luck level of the player? What's the rank level of the gacha? For each level, I apply multiplication to all the weights appropriately. So if I want ranks and luck to increase the value of the highest weight, the highest outcome, this is what it's doing. What this does is lets me modify the base weights that I've gotten for the gacha rolls into a new set of weights, which I then throw into roll weights function. And you can see here, that's the function I was showing earlier, roll weights. Gives me an outcome. I check that outcome in a switch statement. And then based on which outcome we get from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that determines what kind of reward we get, right? So either you get junk for case 0 or some gold for some of the later cases. Okay, so let's just wrap up there. That's basically where I'm at. I feel like I'm making a lot of good progress towards developing this prototype. It's very much still a prototype. Like the full game should not. I hope I can build a lot more on top of this. It should not look like this. It should not look like a board of buttons and bars. Although some incrementals do that, I think it's a good base to start from. Which is why I'm doing the prototype this way, because the art requirements are non-existent right now. We're just focusing on the playability, the code, and then we can add art. We can add the other player-facing elements as another layer on top later on. So really, I'm just working towards, getting this prototype done. Like everything you see on the screen here with the different game systems is my goal for the prototype. We want quests working, we want prize shop working, we want collections working, and we want like the additional bonus systems with the tchotchkes and luck charms and different luck systems to work as well, though those might be lower priority. I'm working on everything boxed up in the blue here, the more core systems, and then we'll talk about heroes later, right? And collections later. Once we get the core system working, I'll be able to work a lot on the tuning of the chances and the rates in the game. Get a feel for what kind of tuning will result in how long of a game we can make and how much game content we could fit within one playthrough. And then from there, I think I'll start having to do some visual exploration around like what the final game visually will look like. So that's it for today's game dev vlog. It was a longer one for sure because I feel like we're having a lot more to play through in terms of an interactable prototype. So I was super excited to do this one today just because there were so many buttons I could press and show you all. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you're interested in any of the work I'm doing here, you'll be able to continue to follow me on this game dev journey. This is basically going to be my first commercial solo dev project, is what I'm aiming for. So do follow, do subscribe. Once the game is playable, we'll probably talk more about playtesting and getting player feedback from you players who might be interested in incremental games or gacha games. I'd be happy and excited to get everything playable and in front of players, right? So this is going to be a long journey, but we're making steady progress, and there's a lot of interesting work ahead of us. So thanks for watching today. Looks like we're about 43 minutes for this one. It's pretty long, but hopefully it was a fun watch for you all. Thanks, and see you next time.